Hey, what's up, everyone? So, I've been playing lots of Starfield lately, and I've uncovered a big secret to share with you all. On the surface, Benjamin Bayu seems to have terrific intuition, however, that is not entirely true. He has a secret to success that even his own brother doesn't seem to be aware of. I believe that Benjamin Bayu is Starborn. In fact, I think the Xenofresh hierarchy has a legacy of being Starborn. Let's go in chronological order here, starting with this corporation's path to success. Late in the 22nd century, Xenofresh discovers Voli Alpha, along with their native chasm bass, a species of fish that just happens to be the key to making Aurora, a gold mine just sitting there for the taking. That was awfully lucky, wasn't it? Well, perhaps it wasn't luck. Maybe whoever was in charge of Xenofresh fisheries at the time knew that the chasm bass were there because they had lived their life before, then they simply went through to Unity and went right to where they already knew the gold mine was. So who was the head honcho of Xenofresh back then? Well, I haven't found a definitive answer, but Ben's brother Benjamin Bayu implies that their father was also a corporate shark on Neon. So they have family legacy, and families like this often pass their business holdings down very much like a monarchy. They groom their children and help advance them through the ranks so that they can eventually inherit the family business. So I find it likely that Benjamin inherited his position as the CEO of Xenofresh Fisheries from his father, and another thing that really drives this home is it fits very well with Brayson's story. He doesn't seem to have been included in this family legacy, but why not? Well, Bethesda made sure to tell us that he is an illegitimate son. So the rest of the Bayu family unfortunately treats him as a blemish on their name. Hence, it makes sense that they wouldn't include him in their family legacy of achieving success by becoming Starborn. So if Ben inherited the position from his father, then he likely got it from one of his parents, which leads me to believe that the Bayu family has known how to become Starborn for at least a few generations. And based on the timing here, Neon was probably founded by either a grandparent or great-grandparent of Ben and Brayson's. I think this whole thing started sometime around 2180 when a Bayu first became Starborn, established Neon, and passed down the knowledge to become Starborn to their children, which began a family legacy of becoming Starborn and using their knowledge of the settled systems to rule the pleasure city of Neon. So this is all good stuff, but to really drive this theory home, we need to talk more about Benjamin Bayu. If we can find more proof that he is Starborn, then we would have a very solid theory here. Let's start with a simple observation about his character. He's always one step ahead of everyone else. How does he manage that? Is his network really just that good? Or could it be that he knows when and how everything is going to play out because for him this is all part of a new game plus? With this in mind, I decided to search his penthouse thinking that something in there might lead me to answers. And at first glance, nothing really stands out, so I was thinking, oh no, is there really nothing in here? Then, at the end of my search, I found something peculiar. On Bayu's desk, there's a copy of The Price of Destiny by Lillian Desbois, and reading this book triggers an objective to visit the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. For viewers that maybe are not super familiar with American monuments, this one is more on the obscure side. As a test, I went and asked a friend of mine on the spot to name 5 structures that they associate with America. They said the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, and the White House. So Bethesda picked a pretty specific thing here. Of all places they could have sent us to by placing a book on Bayu's desk, they chose the Gateway Arch. Not a corporate building like the Empire State Building to represent Neon's corporatocracy, or a pleasure zone like Vegas to represent the many pleasures of Neon. They chose the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. So the big question we need to answer is why? What about the Gateway Arch is relevant to Benjamin Bayu? Well, as the book gets at here, it's the gateway to the West, a monument to manifest destiny. But it's more than that, it symbolizes the prosperous future that westward expansion laid the foundation for. It's the gateway from the USA being an upstart country to becoming a world superpower. So how does that apply to Benjamin Bayu? Well, I believe that Bethesda's idea here is that in the same sense that westward expansion is the gateway to America's success, the Unity is the gateway to the Bayu family's success. Well, I suppose in a much less symbolic and more literal sense, but you get the idea here. If I were a BGS developer working on Starfield and I had to pick a landmark somewhere on Earth to symbolize a portal as a clue for this mystery, this is certainly what I would pick. It's a bit obscure, but I can't think of anything better for this purpose. Also, that obscurity draws attention to it, so it's likely that a content creator will take note of it eventually, and as it happens, one has. Furthermore, that's not the only element of the price of destiny that can be applied to Benjamin Bayu. As the closing sentence here says, one of the major themes of this text is that America's success came at a price. And look at the people living in Ebside. They're paying the price for Bayu's corporatocracy. Now we need to talk about the Astral Lounge, where Benjamin Bayu spends most of his time. The centerpiece of the club is Borealis's bubble, which has 3 rings around it. Where else in the game do we see layouts like this? Artifact temples. And it gets better. Look at the logo for the Astral Lounge. Once again, there's a clear resemblance to artifact temples with the rings, and the one in Bayu's room looks like the doors. But there's more than just that. Look at these designs in the circles here. Do these look familiar? I think they look a whole lot like the icons for the powers. However, there's no exact match. But there's no reason to believe that the 24 powers that we can currently obtain in Starfield are the only ones that exist. I mean, there are only 20 shouts in the base game of Skyrim, but more were added in DLC. And based on the lore, we can safely assume that there are more beyond that as well. Also, in my research for this video, I noticed that a lot of players are saying that even with all 24 powers, the game is still telling them that there's more temples out there. And many of these players are saying that the game says there's specifically 3 more. So perhaps we're meant to assume that there's more temples we haven't found, which could be added in DLC, and that the Bayu family has found some of these other temples and knows whatever powers these symbols correspond to. Though there's another possibility here too. There's actually one more place where these symbols show up and many players simply don't notice them. If you look along the interior of the rings and artifact temples, you'll see that each ring actually has one on it somewhere. So maybe the symbols on the Astral Lounge logo are all from the same temple and the Bayus got them from that temple's rings. However, that would make more sense if these 2 weren't on the same ring, because in temples it's 1 on each ring. So for now I'm leaning more on the first possibility, but I'm not ruling this one out because it could just be a visual appeal thing here. I mean, for the logo to look exactly like the rings and temples, then these 2 would really need to be right next to each other, which would lopside the whole design. So that's it for this video, folks. That's why I believe that Benjamin Bayu's secret to success is that he is Starborn. It fits with everything too nicely to be a coincidence. And this raises the question, are there more secret Starborn characters out there in Starfield? I'll let you know if I find any more. Thank you all so much for watching, and I promise there are more great things on the horizon. In the meantime, if you like other Bethesda games like Elder Scrolls and Fallout, then I've got plenty more videos for you. So if you want to join the fun, please subscribe. I promise you will be glad you did. Also, please leave a like, check out my socials, and share. It really helps me out a whole lot, and it'll help other Bethesda fans find this video. And if you have something to add, please comment. I'd love to hear it. Do you think I missed something here? Let me know below. Thanks again, everyone, and I will see you next time.